今日はいつものテモテのシリーズを離れて、政治の話をしたいと思います。
I want to get away from our series on Timothy today to talk about politics.
今年はこの来週日本で選挙あるわけですけれども、でも日本だけじゃなくてこの前イギリスで大きな大変意味のある選挙があったし、また秋にはアメリカでもとても重要な選挙があります。
So this seems to be an year of election. Obviously, there's going to be an election in Japan next week, or this week? Next Sunday. There was an election, big election in the UK, and then there will be a presidential election in America later this year.
ですから、イエスはこの政治とか選挙ということについてどういうふうに考えを持っているかということを確かめておきたいと思います。
So I thought it would be worth actually going back to confirming what Jesus' stance is towards things like politics or elections.
はじめにサムエル記の上の8章の6節から9節を読みます。
Now we'll start off by looking at 1 Samuel chapter 8.
裁きを行う王を与えようとの彼らの言い分はサムエルの目には悪と映った。そこでサムエルは主に祈った。主はサムエルに言われた。民があなたに言うままに彼らの声に従うがよい。彼らが退けたのはあなたではない。彼らの上に私が王として君臨することを退けているのだ。彼らをエジプトから導き上った日から今日に至るまで、彼らのすることといえば私を捨てて他の神々に仕えることだった。あなたに対しても同じことをしているのだ。今は彼らの声に従いなさい。ただし彼らにはっきり警告し、彼らの上に君臨する王の権能を教えておきなさい。
From verse 6. But when they said, "Give us a king to lead us," this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, "Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king, as they have done from the day I brought them out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods. So they are doing to you. Now listen to them. But warn them solemnly and let them know what the king who will reign over them will do."
この書かれた時の時代、イスラエルは12の部族の連合体でこの偉大な預言者サムエルの求心力でかろうじて統一を保っていました。
Now when this happened, this passage of Samuel, the people of Israel were 12 tribes that were sort of basically barely held together by this great prophet Samuel.
エジプトを出てきた時のような一体感というのはもうなかったんです。
No longer did they have the kind of unity that they had right after they were freed from Egypt.
このサムエル記のすぐ前の本、詩式という本の一番最後に、その頃イスラエルには王がなく、それぞれの自分の目に正しいとすることを行っていたというふうに記されています。
In fact, in the book of the Bible, right before Samuel, the book of Judges, there are several passages that says that in those days, Israel had no king, and everyone did as he saw fit.
この預言者サムエルに王を立ててくださいと願ったのはイスラエルの長老たちでした。
Now, the people who really demanded Samuel to give them a king were the leaders of the people, the tribes of Israel.
サムエルを年取って有力な後継者が見当たらなかったんです。
Now, by this time, Samuel had grown old, and he didn't seem to have an obvious successor.
一方でイスラエルを取り巻く周りの国々は大きな権力を持つ王様の下で強力な軍隊を持っていたので、長老たちはその国の治安、国内の治安も国際関係についても全く自信を失っていたわけです。
In contrast, when they looked around at the countries that surrounded them, the elders of Israel, the tribes of Israel, saw that many of those countries had powerful kings who led powerful armies, and they felt weak in comparison.
そこで私たちも強い王を得て国をまとめて国際的にも発言力を増そう、そう考えて預言者に王を立ててくださいとお願いした。
And so the obvious conclusion for these elders were, well, we should have a strong king too, so that we can have influence internationally, we can be strong.
長老全員が来て頼みましたって書いてあります。
And so the passage tells us that all of the elders actually came to Samuel to ask him for a king.
ですから正確に言うと民の求めというよりは当時の支配者たちの願いだったんです。
So to be precise, the wish for a king was more of the wish of the leaders of the people of Israel as opposed to everyone in that among those people.
本当に人々が願っていたのか、それとも支配者が願っていたのか、これは重要な問題です。
I think it's actually that distinction is worth noting, whether the desire for a king came from the people, as it were, or from the elites.
サムエルは直感的に彼らの言い分が正しくないと感じました。
Now, whatever the reason, Samuel felt immediately, instinctively, that what they wanted was wrong.
それで神様に導きを求めたんです。
And so he turned to God for guidance.
王をいただくということは、神様の座を誰かに渡すこと。つまりそれが偶像礼拝であると神様は見抜いていました。
Now, it seems even from this passage that God also sees this desire for a king as something that's almost akin to idol worship, something that is asking for a figure who would replace God.
しかし同時に神様はサムエルに彼らの要求に応じなさいと答えました。
Even so, God's advice to Samuel is that he accepts the wishes of these elders.
今日は取り上げたテキストが多くてどれも長いのでその一部ずつしか読めませんが、ぜひ今週は実際に読んだ前後のテキストも読み直してみてください。
Now, all of the passages that I've drawn today are already sort of fairly lengthy, but they all also have sort of important things before and after for each of the passages. So please take your time when you go back home today to take a look at the full context of these passages.
今日の今のこの部分もそうです。
Including the passage that we've just read.
神様は今読んだ部分の後の部分で長老たちの願いを聞いて王を立てた結果、実際に願った長老や指導者たちだけではなくて民全体がすごい苦しみを受けて奴隷のようになると言っています。
Because what God does right after he has this conversation with Samuel is that God actually gives a warning to the people of Israel of what would happen if they had a king, which is namely that they would essentially become enslaved to that king.
社会的に立場の弱い人ほど苦しみを受けるということです。
And in fact, God's warning is that the weaker you are in your society, in the society of Israel, the more damage or the more brunt you would bear of the oppression of this king.
基本的に誰かに権力を委ねるということは、そういうことが起こるということなんです。
And that, I think, speaks to larger sort of things that happens when you have someone who take over a certain amount of power or authority over you.
その人がどんな方法でその地位についたとしても、そういうことは起こります。
No matter sort of how a person comes into a position of power, being given that power always has that possibility of oppression.
私たちは今読んだところで、神様が真の主権者であるということを知ります。
And I think the main thing that we should know from this passage is that God is a true sovereign from God's perspective.
そして創世記によれば人類はその主権を神様に委ねられてこの世界を治めなさいと言われています。
And what we learn from the beginning in Genesis is that God, in a sense, from the time of Adam and Eve, had delegated his sovereignty to humans, human beings, to govern the earth.
神はご自分にかたどって人類を人を創造された。神にかたどって創造された。男と女とに創造された。最後のところですけども、すべての生き物を支配しなさいと言われています。
And so Genesis tells us, so God created man in his own image, in the image of God he created him, male and female he created them, and God commands them to rule over all the creatures, all the creation.
私たち一人一人が委ねられているということです。
In other words, each one of us have individually been delegated with part of God's sovereignty.
もし全ての人が神様の期待に応えることができるならば、本当に王様も大統領も政府も必要ないかもしれません。
And maybe if all of us can fully act on God's will and exercise that sovereignty, maybe we don't need any kind of rulers.
でもそんな素晴らしい世界は実現しそうもありません。
But of course we know that that's not the reality of our world.
エゴのない人は一人もいません。
There's no one in this world who don't have their own ego, selfishness.
自分が大統領とか首相になったことをちょっと想像してみてください。
Just imagine if you've become a prime minister or a president.
ろくなことしないですよ。
If you're honest, you probably realize that you won't do much good.
力を持てばそれを保ち、さらに大きな力を求めます。
What typically happens is if you gain power, you seek more power.
それは選挙で選ばれた人でも、クーデターで権力を奪った人でも同じです。
And that tends to happen whether a person gains power through election or through a coup d'etat.
本質的に、でも誰が選ばれるのも、じゃあ本質的に同じなんだから政治は関わりなく生きよう。そう聖書は教えているでしょう。
But is the Bible teaching us that, therefore, since anyone who gains power sort of falls into this, that we should stay away from politics? Is that what the Bible is suggesting to us?
時々信仰を持つということを政治が遠ざけると考える人もいます。
I think some people have thought that to have faith means to stay as far away from politics as possible.
でも創世記を見るなら私たちはそれを委ねられているわけですから責任があるんです。
But again, if we go back to Genesis, if we've been delegated with God's sovereignty over this world, then we have a certain amount of responsibility.
政治に関わりなく生きようというのは無責任です。
And therefore, it will be irresponsible for us to completely separate ourselves from politics, as it were.
そこで私たちは少しでも神様の意志をこの置かれている社会の中で実現するために神様の目から見て少しでもマシな政党、マシな人はどれかということをよく考えて一票を投じるという責任になります。
And so we do sort of, in our political context, have, I think, at least a responsibility to try to the best of our ability, vote for someone, some party, who we feel would do more to realize God's will.
少しでもマシなというのはなんかすごい消極的に思えるかもしれませんね。
Now this might sound a little bit passive to sort of try to choose from the least of the evils or something like that.
よく選挙に行かない人に理由を聞くと、この人になってもらいたいという人はいないから、どうしてもなってもらいたいと思う人はいないからという理由を答えてくれる人がいます。
I think one of the common answers when you ask someone, why don't you vote, is that, well, that person may well answer, there's nobody I'm interested in voting for.
でも本当は少しでもマシな人を選ぼうというのは正しいことなんです。
But I think it's actually important and right to try to choose the best, or even from choice that don't seem ideal to you.
むしろ何の迷いも疑いもなく、この人をボスにしたいというふうにもし誰かのことを思うとしたら、その人はすでにもうあなたの偶像になっています。
In fact, I think it's even better to have that kind of hesitancy as opposed to being absolutely convinced that, yeah, I'm going to definitely vote for this person or this party, because chances are that person has already become a bit of an idol for you.
人々から熱狂的に支持された人はやがて独裁者となってその人々を苦しめるという出来事は全然珍しくないことです。
In fact, it's not uncommon at all for someone who is sort of given power through claim by the people who end up becoming a dictator and oppressing the very people who selected them.
ここで新約聖書からも見ていきましょう。
Now let's turn to the New Testament.
マタイによる福音書を読みます。
Let's look at the Gospel of Matthew.
22章の15節から22節なんですけれども、読むのは17節からにします。
And I'll be looking at chapter 22, starting with verse 17. Tell us, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, knowing their evil intent, said, You hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin used for paying the tax. They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, Whose portrait is this? And whose inscription? Caesar's, they replied. Then he said to them, Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's.
ところでどうお思いでしょうか。教えてください。公邸に税金を納めるのは立法にかなっているでしょうか。かなっていないでしょうか。イエスは彼らの悪意に気づいて言われた。 偽善者たち、なぜ私を試そうとするのか、税金に納めるお金を見せなさい。彼らがデナリオン銀貨を持ってくると、イエスは、これは誰の肖像と名かと言われた。彼らは皇帝のものですと言った。するとイエスは言われた。では皇帝のものは皇帝に、神のものは神に返しなさい。さっきサムエル記で政府とか国家に権威、権力を与えることは許されているけれども、それは神様を信頼する代わりに、そういう人たちを信頼する偶像礼拝になってしまう危険があるということを見てきました。
Now, we've just seen in the passage in Samuel that while God allows us to give power to kings and rulers over us, that there's always a risk that that king or ruler would become an oppressor that replaces God, an idol.
そこで権威を偶像化させない、少しでもマシな政治を望むためにすべきことは、主イエスの考えを知ることです。
And so I think one of the best ways that we can try to avoid turning our rulers into idols is to learn to the best of our ability how Jesus sees these things.
イエスの考えを後半でお話ししていきますけれども、その前に今読んだ出来事を手がかりにイエスの基本的な政治に対する態度を確認しておきたいと思います。
And I'll get into a little bit more of the specifics of how Jesus sees all these things in the second half of the sermon today. But right now I want to use this passage to sort of look at what is Jesus' basic stance towards politics.
でこの質問をしたのはファリサイ派と言われる人たちとヘロデ派と言われる人たちです。
Now, there were two groups of people who asked this question to Jesus that Jesus is answering here, namely a group of people who were called Pharisees and also people who were called Herodians, or people who were of the party of Herod.
ヘロデ派というのは納税賛成派でした。
And the latter group were people who were for paying taxes to Caesar.
ファリサイ派は実際には自分たちの地位を保つために税金払っていたんです。
And even Pharisees, in fact, who were the opposing party, actually paid taxes because they wanted to maintain their social position.
自分たちは払っていたのに、ファリサイ派の人たちは人々にはそれを払うべきではないということでした。
But even though they paid the taxes themselves, Pharisees told people that they should not pay tax to Caesar.
ローマ皇帝の納税は偶像礼拝の罪に当たるんだ。10回のうちの最初の1回を破ることになるんだと教えたんです。
Because they recommended to people that in fact paying taxes to the Caesar would amount to breaking the first commandment in the Ten Commandments, would amount to worshiping an idol.
イエスはこのファリサイ派の偽善に強く反対していました。
And so Jesus was especially opposed to what he saw as the hypocrisy of the Pharisees.
イエスが納税に反対すれば、イスラエルの権力者たちはイエスをローマに対する反逆者として告発することができます。
Now, these teachers of law would have been able to condemn Jesus before the authorities had Jesus said, well, yes, you should not pay tax to the Caesar.
賛成すれば、イエスに民族的なメシアの役割を期待していた民衆は、イエスを裏切り者とみなすことになります。
At the same time, had Jesus said, no, absolutely not, absolutely you should pay tax for Caesar and you should do your duty, then he would have disappointed the masses of people who had hoped that Jesus would become a kind of nationalistic Messiah who would save them from the Romans.
イエスの答えは皆さんが一緒に読んだ通りです。
And you just saw how Jesus actually answered this question.
皆さんもしかしたらこのイエスの答えというのはなんかこううまくはぐらかしたという印象を持つかもしれません。
Now, you might think that what Jesus is actually doing here is kind of very cleverly confusing people or kind of being wishy-washy.
でも実はそうじゃないんです。
But actually, I don't think that's true.
この答えは神様を認めない外国人の支配の下でも神様に従うことはできます。しかしあなた方はカエサルには返しておきながら神様には神様のものを何も返してないじゃないですか。ものすごい反撃なんです。
I think Jesus is saying two things here. One is that I think Jesus is saying that actually, even when you're ruled by sort of foreign overlords who don't recognize God, that it's actually still possible for you to follow God. That's one thing. But the other thing that Jesus is saying, especially to these teachers of the law, who Jesus sees as hypocrites, is that he's saying, you teachers of the law, you actually pay taxes and give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but you actually don't give to God what belongs to God. And so it's actually a very strong attack on these teachers.
私たちもイエスに言いまかされてしまったパリサイ派の人たちのように社会の不条理を理由にして神様の意志を行わないで済ませていないでしょうか。
And so the question for us is, have we not fallen into the same trap that the Pharisees have fallen in, who basically gave up on actually doing God's will, saying that the world is just what it is and it's too hard.
私たちはいつでも神様に従い続けることができます。
Now, I think one of Jesus' points, as I said, was we can always follow God's will.
どの党が政権を取っても、誰が首相になって、憲法が変わって明治憲法の時のように天皇よりイエスを信頼するというだけで逮捕されるような事態になったとしても、私たちは神様に信頼を置き続け使えることができるんです。
No matter which party rules over us, no matter which prime minister we might have, even if in the case of Japan, the current constitution has changed, and we go back to the old Meiji constitution, and be in a circumstance that existed before, like being arrested. If you publicly say, "I will trust God more than the emperor," even if we're in that kind of situation, we can still actually trust God and do His will.
独裁下の北朝鮮の中に表立った行動をすることはできないけれども、イエスに従っている人はいるんです。
In fact, even now in North Korea, which is infamously under a dictatorship, you can't see on the surface, but we know that there are people who are serving Jesus.
今よりももっと厳しい状況に置かれていたかつてのロシアや中国にも多くのイエスに従う人が存在していました。
In fact, history has taught us that even in Russia or China, several decades ago, when things were even much harsher than it is now, there were in fact many people who continued to serve Jesus.
どんなに凶悪な政権でも体を殺すことはできても魂を殺すことはできないんです。
In fact, no matter how evil an authority, a political authority, might rule over society, they may be able to kill people physically, but they obviously can't kill their soul.
ですから時が良くても悪くても誰が権力を持っていても私たちは魂に永遠の命を与える神様だけを信頼して生きることができるんです。
In fact, that's why no matter sort of how good or bad our circumstances are, no matter who actually rules over us, we can continue to trust in God who actually gives us the eternal life, eternal soul.
その上でもちろん先にお話ししたように私たちには少しでも良い状態を求める責任が与えられています。
Having that as our basis, we then have the responsibility to do the best that we can to better the world that we live in.
少しでも神様の愛が神様の義が行われるように投票するんです。
To vote so that no matter how small, that there would be more of God's love, more of God's justice in this world.
そこでいよいよイエスがもし有権者であったらどういう基準で投票するのかということを確認してみたいと思います。
So I'd like to look a little bit more into, say, how Jesus would vote if he was a voter.
その一つ目はイエスは決して民族主義には組みしない民族主義から距離を置くということです。
I think the one thing that we see is that Jesus distances himself from nationalism.
ルカによる福音書の13章24節から30節を読みます。
Let's take a look at Gospel of Luke chapter 13, verse 23 through 24 through 30.
狭い戸口から入るように努めなさい。手奥が入ろうとしても入れない人が多いのだ。 家の主人が立ち上がって戸を閉めてしまってからでは、あなた方が表に立って戸を叩き、ご主人様開けてくださいと言っても、お前たちがどこのものか知らないという答えが返ってくるだけである。その時あなた方はご一緒に食べたり飲んだりしました。また私たちの広場でお教えを受けたのですと言い出すだろう。
Make every effort to enter through the narrow door, because many, I tell you, will try to enter and will not be able to. Once the owner of the house gets up and closes the door, you will stand outside knocking and pleading, "Sir, open the door for us." But he will answer, "I don't know you or where you come from." Then you will say, "We ate and drank with you, and you taught us to talk in our streets." But he will reply, "What's
しかし主人は、お前たちがどこのものか知らない、不義を行う者ども、皆私から立ち去れと言うだろう。あなた方はアブラハム、イサク、ヤコブやすべての預言者たちが神の国に入っているのに、自分は外に投げ出されることになり、そこで泣きわめいて歯ぎしりをする。そして人々は東から西から、また南から北から来て、神の国で宴会の席に着く。そこでは、後の人が先になるものがあり、後の人で先になるものがあり、先の人で後になるものもある。
But he will reply, "I don't know you or where you come from. Away from me, all you evildoers. There will be weeping there and gnashing of teeth, when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, but you yourselves thrown out. People will come from east and west and north and south, and will take their places at the feast in the kingdom of God. Indeed, there are those who are last who will be first, and first who will be last."
この時代、ユダヤは民族主義の熱狂の中にありました。
It's worth noting that this time when Jesus said this, the land of Judea was in a nationalist fervor.
無理はありません。
And it was understandable.
ローマによる植民地状態で、人々の不満は強力な民族的なメシアを待ち望んでいた時代です。
Because they were colonized by the Romans, and people's desire naturally gravitated towards a powerful nationalistic Messiah.
イエスはまさにそういう時にメシアとして期待されて現れたんです。
And so Jesus appeared in the land of Judea exactly when a certain kind of Messiah was desired by the people.
そしてそういうものではなかったという失望がイエスを十字架の死に追いやりました。
But when people realized that Jesus wasn't the kind of Messiah they were looking for, that led him to the cross.
イエスは、あなたはユダヤ人だからといって神の国に入れるとは思うなと言っているんです。
In this passage, Jesus is saying quite bluntly, don't think that just because you're part of the Jewish people that you can automatically get into the kingdom of God.
むしろ当時のユダヤの宗教指導者たちからすれば決して神の国には入れないとしてされていた外国人たちが神の国の宴会の席に着くっていうんです。
Not only that, Jesus is saying that, in fact, foreigners, people who the teachers of law at that point said that had said that there's no possibility for them to be able to get into the kingdom of God. Jesus said that it's precisely those people who would come from east and west and north and south find themselves in God's kingdom.
イエスというのはコンサバでもないし、リベラルでもないし、ラディカルであるとしか言いようがないと思います。
And so I think from this passage you can say that Jesus is neither conservative nor liberal, he's just radical.
イエスは熱心な宗教者なら汚れると言って近づこうともしなかった人たちのところに行って一緒に食べたり飲んだりしました。
Jesus willingly went to people who were considered to be unclean by the most devout religious leaders of that time and happily ate and drank with them.
宗教的に軽蔑されていた人たちの願いに応えました。
Jesus responded to the desires of people who were discriminated by the religious leaders.
占領しているローマの軍人でさえ喜んで癒してあげました。
He even healed a Roman soldier who was the oppressor of the people of Israel.
日本は特別な国で、特別に美しい国で、人々がとても優れている。本当はそうであるべきなのにそうでなっていないのは外からの悪い影響だと。悪い影響を取り除いて美しい日本を取り戻しましょうと主張する人は パリサイ派と同じ偽善者です。
And so I think we need to realize that sort of an argument says that Japan is a uniquely wonderful, uniquely beautiful, uniquely superior country. And the reason why it's not doing so well is because of all the evil foreign influences. I think we need to realize that that's actually the same hypocrisy of the Pharisees that Jesus criticized.
まず第一にそういう人たちに耳を貸してはいけません。
And so we should not lend ears to that in the first place.
聖書は全ての人が罪を犯し神様の栄光を表せなくなっているんだと言っているんです。
The Bible is pretty blunt. It says that all have committed sin and have fallen short of the glory of God.
全ての人です。何人が素晴らしいとかそういうことは言ってないんです。
God says everyone has fallen short, no matter where you come from.
どういう場所にも誰にも良いところ、悪いところ、美しいところ、醜いところがあります。
In any country that you go to, you'll see people who are good, who are evil, who are bad, who are beautiful, who are ugly.
それでも補い合って助け合って忍耐しながら良い世界の一部としての私たちの国を作っていきなさい。それが神様の意志です。
And so I think for those of us who consider ourselves to be part of Japan, I think God's will is for Japan to be part of that world and to work with people to fill in where things are lacking and to provide where there is strength.
次にイエスは弱い立場の者を憐れむという基準を考えてみたいと思います。
I think another important standard by which I think Jesus votes is that he shows mercy to the weak.
ヨハネの福音書の9章の1節から7節を読みます。
And I will look from the Gospel of John, chapter 9, verse 1 through 7. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus. But this happened so that the work of God might be displayed in his life. As long as it is day, we must do the work of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Having said this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eye. Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam. The word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing.
さて、イエスは通りすがりに生まれつき目の見えない人を見かけられた。弟子たちがイエスに尋ねた。ラビ、この人が生まれつき目が見えないのは誰が罪を犯したからですか？本人ですか？それとも両親ですか？イエスは答えました。本人が罪を犯したからでも、両親が罪を犯したからでもない。神の技がこの人に現れるためである。私たちは私をお使わしになった方の技をまだ日のあるうちに行わねばならない。誰も働くことのできない夜が来る。私は世にいる限り世の光である。こう言ってからイエスは地面に唾をし、唾で土をこねてその人の目にお塗りになった。そして白は使わされたものという意味の池に行って洗いなさいと言われた。そこで彼は行って洗い、目が見えるようになって帰ってきた。立場の弱い者に対して癒してやる、憐れんでやるイエスのことはここだけではなくたくさんのことが福音書の中に出てきます。
There are many instances throughout the Gospels where we see Jesus having mercy on and healing people who were weak.
誰の方を向いて、どのような人の方を向いて国を治めるべきなのかということについてイエスの態度がはっきりしています。
And so I think Jesus' attitude towards sort of who should we prioritize in our society is quite clear.
弱い者、
It's people who would be considered to be weak.
貧しい者、
People who are poor.
病弱な者、
People who are sick.
社会的な差別を受けている人、
People who are discriminated in your society.
宗教的な人から罪人と 断定されている人たち。
People who are accused of being sinners by the religious leaders of that society.
当時のユダヤの宗教指導者たちは、社会の底辺で苦しむそういう人たちに対する憐れみを全く持っていませんでした。
And we see that the religious leaders of the time of Jesus really tended to not have much mercy at all on people who were on the bottom end of society.
律法を守らず、罪深く、汚れているんだから、そういう人を助けるどころか、そういう人たちに近づかない方がいいとさえ考えていたわけです。
In fact, it was common sense among teachers of law that it would be better to simply stay away from these people who were considered to be not followers of God's law, sinful, and polluted, let alone help.
今の言葉で言えば、あの人たちは自己責任でそうなったということです。
We might say that that the religious leaders' attitude would have been that these people deserved it. It's their responsibility.
もちろん、今の指導者、政治家たちは弱い人がどうでもいいと、そんなことあからさまに言う人は一人もいません。
No, I think actually in our days, most politicians wouldn't outwardly say that, we don't care about people who are suffering.
でも、その人がどういう形でどういうところから税金を集め、それをどういうふうに用いるかという違いについては私たちは見ることができます。
But I think we can see how our political leaders use, for example, the tax money, and for what purpose. We can see the differences in those things.
それはつまり自分たちにたくさん献金をしてくれるような富んだ人たちの利益を代表して活動するのか、それともそのように富んでいる人たちを説得して、そうではなく弱い人たちの生活の向上のためにもっと多く負担してくださいというふうに説得するのかということです。
I think one difference we can see is do our political leaders work with the rich and the powerful in our society to simply make them more richer and more powerful, or do they work so that they would be able to help together people who have less, who are suffering?
最初に言った前者では根本的に弱い立場にいるのは自分やその家族のせいでせいなんだから、富んでいる人は一方で富んでいる人はその人の努力で富んでいるんだから、富んでいる人の負担で弱い人を助ける必要がないという考えがあります。
Again, I think one way to think about it is people are in their circumstances because of their own responsibility or that of their family, and those who are wealthy are because of their own efforts. And so things should be as it is. There's no particular need to help people who are in need.
それはまさにラビ、この人が生まれつき目が見えないのは誰が罪を犯したからですか、本人ですか、両親ですかというその誤解そのものです。
And I think this is the kind of attitude that we see when the Pharisees ask Jesus, why is this man blind? Is it his fault or is it his parents' fault?
でも後者は本人の努力というのは関係なく社会の構造として抜き出せないでいるんだから、富んでいる者は犠牲を払ってでも弱い人たちに手を差し伸べるべきであると考えるわけです。
But I think the second option is to think that these people are born in these circumstances, social structures, etc., that make it necessary for those who are wealthier to support and make sacrifice of those who are weaker.
どちらが正しいかはイエスの答えと、そしてその後でイエスがした行動、癒してあげたという行動で明らかだと思います。
And I think it's clear how Jesus sees this by how he acts in this passage.
誰もがこの国がより良いものになるために私に投票してくださいと言います。
Now, all the politicians will tell you, I'm trying to make this country better, so please vote for me.
でもその良いの内容はみんな違うわけです。
But I think the good that each person and each politician is proposing is obviously different.
ある人々にとっては軍事的な力をつけて国際社会で発言力を増す強い国になることが良い国になることだということを意味しています。
For some people, becoming a better country means becoming a stronger country, becoming a more powerful military, more influence overseas.
ある人にとってはできるだけ貧富の差をなくして誰もが欲張らなければ幸せに暮らせる国が良い国ですと考えます。
For others, they might say, well, maybe we should have less sort of income difference in wealth gap, and that maybe we should try to share things.
イエスはどちらを支持するでしょうか。
I wonder which one Jesus will choose.
強い国を目指せば弱い人が一番我慢しなければならなくなるんです。
I think it's worth noting that when a society seeks to be stronger, it's the weakest people in that society who bear the most brunt.
それは北の国を見れば明らかです。
I think that's the lesson that we should take from North Korea.
まあいいや。サムエルの時代もイエスの時代も今も同じです。
And I think at the end of the day, the era of Prophet Samuel, or Jesus' time, or the time that we live in, have fundamental similarity.
イスラエルの長老たちが神様を信頼せずに自分たちの恐れや自分たちの欲望に従って王を求めたように私たちが強い指導者を求めるとしたら、私たちはサムエルの時代の人たちと同じ過ちを犯すことになります。
We always have the risk of falling into the same trap that the elders of the tribes of Israel fell when they asked Samuel or asked God for a king instead of trusting in God and instead choosing to fall into their fears and desires.
今日最後のテキストはマルコによる福音書の10章の42節から45節です。
The final text that I want to look at, the final passage, is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verse 42 through 45.
イエスは権力を警戒します。
And the final point is that Jesus tends to be wary of power and authority.
そこでイエスは一度呼び寄せて言われた。あなた方も知っているように、異邦人の間では支配者とみなされている人々が民を支配し、偉い人たちが権力を振るっている。しかし、あなた方の間ではそうではない。あなた方の中で偉くなりたいものは皆に仕えるものになりなさい。一番上になりたいものはすべての人のしもべになりなさい。人の子は仕えられるためではなく、仕えるために、また多くの人の身代金として自分の命を捧げるために来たのである。
Jesus called them together and said, You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many.
この時までイエスと共に歩んできた弟子たちの言葉です。
This is the words of Jesus to the disciples who were walking with him until this point.
その中でも中心的だったヤコブとヨハネがイエスに願いました。
In fact, two of his sort of most central disciples, James and John, asked this of Jesus.
そのやりとりの最終的なイエスの答えが今読んだものなんです。
And well, they asked him in certain, they were having a conversation with Jesus, and that the end portion of that is what we just read.
ヤコブとヨハネはイエスにこう尋ねました。
But James and John asked this particular question.
あなたが栄光を受けるとき、私たちをあなたの右と左に座らせてください。
They asked Jesus, when you come to the place of glory, when you're glorified, let us too sit on your right hand, left hand, and right hand.
あなたが王様になるときに私たちを大事にしてくださいということです。
Essentially what they're asking is, when you become the king, make us your ministers.
イエスは言いました。あなた方は自分で何を願っているのか分かっていない。
And Jesus' answer is, you don't understand what you're asking for.
弟子たちでさえまだイエスをこの時民族的なメシアだと思っているんです。
It seems from this exchange that even the disciples at this point have some of this notion that maybe Jesus will become a kind of national leader and the nationalistic Messiah.
だからそう願いました。
And so they're asking him for this kind of position.
さらにイエスは私が飲む杯を飲むことができるかと聞きます。
And in fact, Jesus asks them Can you drink from the same cup that I will drink from?
王様が飲むお酒ですよ。飲みたいですよね。
Now, of course, you would say yes. Of course, I'd like to drink from the same wine glass or cup that a king will drink from.
すごい特別なもの。
Because it must be very special.
24年もの。
So maybe a 24-year-old wine or something like that.
だから飲みますというわけです。
And they would say, of course, absolutely, we'll take your cup.
それがイエスの死の苦しみを共にすること、殉教の死を遂げることだという本当の意味は分かっていなかったんです。
But of course, they didn't understand that what that cup really meant was sharing in Jesus' suffering, namely death.
他の弟子たちも同じです。
And I think it was true for most other disciples.
この時点でこんな人たちが教会作り始めたら大変な教会になっちゃうとイエス様が心配したわけですね。
And I think, Jesus' thought must have been, if these people who are asking me these questions are going to be the basis of church at this point, wow, this is going to be trouble.
それで言ったのが今読んだところです。
And that's why Jesus responded in the way that we just read.
イエスのリーダーシップは人々のために喜んでしもべとなり犠牲を払って働くということです。
Leadership for Jesus seems to mean to joyfully serving people as servants and making sacrifices.
けれども教会の中でさえ権力を持って人の上に立って支配しよう、そういう欲望を持った人がリーダーとなってイエスの名を汚すということが起こるわけです。
But we've seen, even in churches, we've seen people who become a leader who wants to rule over people, and sort of people like that becoming leaders.
政治の世界もっとひどいです。
And of course, we've seen even worse in the world of politics.
けれども私たちは責任を果たさなければなりません。
But again, as I said early on, we still have responsibility to that realm.
バラバラでうまくやれない以上、為政者を立てなければならないんです。
As long as we need a ruler, that we can't just simply govern ourselves individually, we do need to choose a leader or leaders.
少しでも良い動機を持った人をできるだけ注意深く見出さなければなりません。
And so we need to really be careful about choosing people who we can, to the best of our ability, are acting on good conscience.
権力を持ちたい、権力を保ちたいという欲望はその名誉が欲しいとか財産を持ちたいとか人々をコントロールしたいという欲望と連動して権力者の心を支配するんです。
The desire to gain power, to maintain power, tends to work or tends to be linked with the desire to be more wealthy, to be able to control things. And those kind of desires together tend to fill the hearts of people who have power.
そしてそれは民の苦しみとして返ってくるんです。
And that tends to reflect back onto the people as oppression.
今回の選挙で選挙権を持っている方はどうぞ今週よく神様の意志を求めて祈って神様の意志が少しでも実現するために誰に投票するのかということを決めてください。
So what I ask the people who are able to vote this coming week is to take the week to really discern, to pray hard, and think about what God's will is.
日本の国籍がない方は自分の国の政治に神様の意志が反映するように祈ってください。
And for those of you who don't have the Japanese nationality, my recommendation would be that you also earnestly desire that God's will be reflected in the politics of your country.
アメリカの国籍を持っている人は特にしっかり祈ってきてください。
I want to ask, especially for those who have American nationality,
それはアメリカだけではなくあらゆる世界に影響を及ぼすんです。
because of the influence that it has, the country has in other parts of the world.
そうではない国籍の方もたくさんいらっしゃると思います。
But many of us come from different parts of the world.
そしてそれぞれの政治の状況は私にはよくわかりません。
And I don't know exactly what is going on in your country.
でも今日お話しした原則はどこの国でも普遍的なものです。
But I think the kind of basic points that I made today applies to everyone.
どうぞ自分の国の政治の中に神様の意志が少しでもしっかり働いていくようになっていきましょう。
Again, let's pray so that God's will be reflected more and more in the politics of our society.
お祈りします。
Let's pray.
神様、あなたが この社会の中に私たちを置いてくださったことを感謝します。
And thank you, God, that you put us in where we are in our society.
困難があり、矛盾があります。
There are many difficulties, many contradictions in this society.
けれども私たちはあなたがあえて私たちを今いるところに置かれたと信じます。
But we believe that you've chosen to place us where we are at this time.
どうぞするべきことを教えてください。
And so teach us what to do.
あなたの考えを聞くことができるように良い霊の耳を与えてください。
Give us good spiritual ears so that we can discern your thoughts.
人ではなく神に従うことができますように。
Enable us to follow you and not people.
感謝してイエス・キリストの名前によって祈ります。
I pray in the name of Jesus.
Amen.